All right.
We are live. Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this chilly Wednesday night in Virginia Beach. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, how's everyone doing out there? My name is John Gardner, and this is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza, and we are
Hello.
the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza. And we come to you almost every Wednesday night from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock to give you immigration law updates, other legal updates, and most importantly, to answer your questions. We know you have questions, and we've got answers.
We've got answers.
So you've come to the right place. Our office is physically located in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is on the east coast of the United States. And as Radlin said, we are starting to get the cold fall moving in here. For those of you who are familiar with the seasons changing this time of year, we're getting them. We have our fall clothes on here as well.
And we're matching.
Yeah, the fall colors are coming out.
Look at that.
Yeah,
it's pretty
Thanksgiving around the
snazzy.
corner. But we have clients. I tell you where we are, just so you know. But we have clients all over the United States. We have clients all over the world, and so wherever you are, we can help you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, go ahead and get your questions in the comments now, and it is a first come, first serve. We have our friends on TikTok, and hello to you guys.
Want to say hi to everyone out there.
Thank you for joining this week. As always, TikTok really brings the questions. Yeah, boy, let me tell you,
they do. So
they're awesome.
I'll be monitoring the questions over here. So if those of you on Facebook see me looking over here, that's what I'm doing. And those of you on TikTok, if you see me looking over there, I'm looking at the Facebook. So get your questions in, and I will try to get to them for Radlin in the order that they come in. If you are on TikTok and you have the ability to get onto Facebook, it's better to do that if you can. It's easier for us to see the questions, and we can post them in writing so that other people that are watching can see them as well. If you can't get onto Facebook and you can only do TikTok, then that's fine as well. Let's get your questions in there, and we will start to get to them in a little bit here. All right.
All right. Fantastic. So did we do our disclaimer yet?
We did not do our disclaimer yet. I will do the disclaimer now.
Everybody, listen up.
Pay
Disclaimer's
attention.
coming.
This is extremely important. Okay. Everything we do here is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not legal advice. So when we're answering questions tonight, we're answering them as hypotheticals because we don't know all the facts of any of your questions, and there may be things that we don't know about your case. Okay.
All right. Fantastic.
And certainly there are. So before we barrel into the questions, and I know that's what people mostly come here for, is to get some questions answered.
They don't come here for the jokes.
No, I don't.
I mean, we're extremely good looking, so that's all. Also,
well, they come for that as well. There's
right.
No question.
Absolutely.
But I did want to just bring everyone up to date because one of the questions that we do get a lot of weekly, not necessarily on Facebook Live or TikTok, but just from people in our office and people that we know. Everybody always wants to know what's going on with immigration reform. Is anything changing? And so when there are updates, I like to bring them to you. There are no specific updates to bring you other than to tell you that for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you do know, we had an election here in the United States very recently. And after all the dust is settled, it looks like we're going to come out with almost the same situation that we went into it with. We went into the election with a 50-50 divided Senate, and it looks like we're going to come out with either a 50-50 divided Senate or a 51-49 with the Democrats controlling it either way. So there's very little change there. We went in with the Democrats having, I think, a 5 or 6 seat majority in the House of Representatives, and it looks like we're going to come out with the Republicans having maybe a 3 or 4 seat majority in the House of Representatives. So a very tight shift there. But a very still tight majority. So what does that mean for immigration reform? Well, one thing it means is that we have a lame duck Congress now. We won't have any major immigration reform before the end of the year. I mean, everybody knows that. And I think it also means that we won't have any major immigration reform for the next 2 years either, because the House and the Senate would have to work together, and that's just not likely to happen on a major piece of immigration legislation. I'm maybe a little hopeful that we might get some sort of a very skinny DACA bill that the Democrats may try to push through fast, and they may be able to get some Republican senators on board because of it being such a slimmed down piece of legislation rather than it being a big, broad immigration reform. It would specifically deal with DACA. I wouldn't hold your breath, but dreams can come true, and so maybe we'll get something there. We'll see, and it's important for something to happen there, because just to bring you up to speed again, for those of you who don't come to here every week to watch us or follow this in the news, a federal judge in Texas had ruled that the entire DACA program was unconstitutional, but allowed existing cases to renew. New cases could be filed, but they weren't going to process those cases, and they are not processing those cases. That determination was appealed. That ruling was appealed to the Court of Appeals, and the Court of Appeals affirmed the holding and said, yeah, DACA is unconstitutional because the way it was formed was not done correctly. And so the only place that it could go now would be to the Supreme Court, which I think would very likely also rule that it's unconstitutional given the current makeup of the Supreme Court. And so DACA, may end early next year if there's not some sort of fix that's put in place legislatively. So
I have faith that there will be.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Well,
they can't
I don't know.
Fix this legislatively.
The combination of the judicial, pressure that's coming to bear now on it because of the situation where it's going to be ending, coupled with, the election, I don't know, maybe we'll get something small. Like I said, this would be this would be something that would deal very specifically with DACA, but something would be better than nothing. So fingers crossed. All right.
Fantastic. Thanks for that update.
My update on the politics here in the United States for those of you who aren't here or watching from afar. All right.
Thanks for the hearts and the love on TikTok, by the way, guys. And if you don't follow us, please follow our page, join our immigration page, and follow our socials. That would be awesome. So we've got a couple of questions here, and I say we just kind of go one and one. Does that sound fair?
Sounds great.
Sounds good. Okay. So I've got mine lined up.
I've got all of mine lined up.
Did you swipe that way to get the? Okay. So Rosalie saying hello. I want to say hi to you from Virginia Beach. We were just in San Francisco, and I am happy to hear that you like learning some stuff from us.
Yeah, we were as just in always. San Francisco. We had a really
You are very welcome, but thank you for coming. And if you have a question, ask the question. We'd be happy to take a stab at it.
I also, when we were in San Francisco, I really truly understood the Mark Twain quote, having been there now, that the coldest winter, he said, the coldest winter I ever spent was summer in San Francisco. And I never really got it, but now I get it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So Dave has a question. I'll go ahead and read it. It cuts off, and I'm not going to put it on the screen because it's long. So Dave says, hey, my friends, I'm seeing someone who is going through an annulment in the Philippines. I had an offer from a friend of mine who is a judge in Washington State offering to marry us over Zoom when the annulment was finalized. Is that enough for us to start the applications with USCIS and the Philippines? I realize that there are other issues that need to be satisfied for a marriage to qualify, but would a Zoom meeting, and then I'm assuming it just kind of goes on to ask finish the question up. So my understanding, Dave, is that in order to file that first step of the process, which is filing the I-130 petition, that Zoom wedding has to be consummated before the filing of that I-130 petition. So after that Zoom wedding, there has to be it's another step. So hopefully that helps. And let us know. All right.
Our first question over here. I don't know, you may need more information, but the question is, I'm petitioning my mom Do you know how long it will take? I filed the petition in 2019 and it got approved.
So we have a petition filed by the U.S. citizen daughter and for her parent, for her mom, and it's now been pending for 3 years. That's not super unusual based on the backlogs that we have at the National Visa Center and basically to queue up for an interview. So it's great that your I-130 petition for your mom has been approved. You know, my next question is, you know, have you gone through the National Visa Center part of this case? And has the National Visa Center said, okay, we have all the documents that are required? So that's the question. Are we in NVC stage? Have we paid the NVC fees? Have we uploaded all the documents to the National Visa Center? Have they said, yes, we have all the documents required. We are now just waiting for an interview.
Yeah, she said it was approved last year.
Right. So we have the I-130 approval, but you know, what about the NVC? And if you are DQ'd at the NVC, basically documentarily qualified, where NVC has everything that you need, then and you're sitting there waiting for an interview, I encourage you to reach out to us. Let's file a lawsuit and try to get this case moving for you, and see whether that will get you in the front of the line. We're willing to file lawsuits now because this is this backlog is quite intense, and you know, your I-130 was approved. Let's say it took a year to approve, like you said, and now you've been waiting, or your mom's been waiting for 2 years for an interview, assuming the NVC is done. So the backlog, I mean, I printed out the NVC backlog report for November of 2022, just to give you an idea. The number of immigrant visas are documentarily complete at NVC and ready for interview as of October 31st. And you may be, your mom's case may be one of these, 423,367 cases. So your mom would be amongst the 423,000 people waiting, DQ'd for an interview as of October 31st. Now, here's something interesting. It's not that interesting. It's sad. But number of documentarily complete interview applicants, immigrant visa applicants scheduled for November 2022 interview appointments. So we have 38,000 people scheduled for the month of October for interviews. So all the embassies around the world, this is the total number. And when you subtract that number from the 423,000 number, then you've got 384,760 people still waiting for an interview. 384,760 people. In October, these numbers, you had 399,286 people waiting at the end of October 2022 of this year. So as you can see, it is moving, but it is not moving that fast. So hang in there. If you want us to take a look at your case, we'd be happy to have a consultation with you, and anyone else out there who wants some movement in your case and you want something to be done. So
yeah, the prospect of suing the government is a scary one. We understand, but I will say that our track record with it and our success rate is outstanding.
We can't.
I'm not allowed to say the actual amount because the bar.
Well, we also, I think there's another thing that we have to say after that, like
results.
Results may vary.
Results are not guaranteed.
Kind of like, you know, teeth whitening. Results may vary.
We've had tremendous success with these lawsuits. I'll just leave it at that.
Yes. All right, but great question.
Yeah, great question.
All right, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. How are you? See, we know we know Jasmine from the photo.
We recognize the photo.
Yes, we recognize the artsy photo.
Okay. Lovely wedding photo.
Jasmine says, "Hello, guys. It's me again. I have a question on 8 affidavit of support, the 864, which Jasmine, you wrote 846, but I know we know you mean 864, part 5. Household size. The question is, do we have to put household size for now? Or does it have to match the recent tax return because the dependents passed away, or sure about this? Sorry to hear about one of the dependents away on your tax in your family, in your household. But you should put the household size as now, not from before. Right? Hopefully that answers the question. What else do we have there?
Okay, this is a pretty broad one, but I think it might be, will be beneficial for others down the road as well. So this person wants to know what the general timeline is. Ready? This is a long one. You ready? We're going
okay, so are you saying that I have to concentrate and not look at the other comments?
The timeline is, we're starting from the very beginning, and they want to
okay, all right.
General idea of the very end.
I'm all ears. Do I need to write things down?
They've got somebody in China. Okay. They're going to start with a K-1 visa.
Okay.
And they want to know when that person is a U.S. citizen, what's the general timeline that we're looking at?
Oh,
that's a pretty big, that's going a long way. K-1 visa in China all the way to naturalized.
I'm going to take some, I'm going to take some guesstimates here. Okay. And I feel, should we do some wagers on this particular case? Who is this person asking this question? What's the person's name?
Vivtra1.
Is it VVTRA?
Yes.
We're gonna look VVTRA in like 10 years. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's not 10 years. It's more like 7. Okay. So let's go with, and now we're talking about processing times, guys. So I know you guys love processing times. Listen up. Don't go away from the page. This is important.
Yeah, don't let the processing time drive you away.
They're scrolling. They're like, come back to that. Okay. So right now, K1 from last week's taking 15 months just to get the petition approved. So I'm going to just write 15 months for the I-129 petition. 15 months, and then let's just say 3 months at the National Visa Center and get transferred. Now we're at a year and a half. Then to get the interview, are we feeling lucky? Yes. Let's just say a year and a half. Let's just say 3. Okay, not 3 months. Let's say 2 years for the fiance visa. Okay. Now, you guys are just like, what is she talking about? The fiance visa is supposed to be fast. Yes, it used to be much faster than this, but now it's kind of all lumped in the same boat as all the other ones, especially with the petition, only the petition taking 15 months to approve. That's a long time. So in the day, pre-COVID, back in the day, pre-COVID, the I-129 would be taking like 3-4 months to approve. Now it's taking now it's taking 5 times as long. All right, don't be discouraged. So 2 years, fiance comes to the United States. You have to get married within 90 days of entering, and so let's just say they get married on day 1. So we're now let's just say takes the fiance a month to get here after that fiance visa. So we're now at 25 months, right? Because they get married on the same day. Let's also just say they file their case on the same day. Now, again, this is usually takes a month to get all these documents together. But we're at 25 months of coming to the United States, getting married, filing the green card application. That is another 2 years, roughly, to get the green card after filing right now, current processing times. So are we at 4 years now? Okay. So 4 years. You can apply for U.S. citizenship early, 3 years after you get your green card. So got the green card, we're at 4 years plus 3. Oh, it's right. Okay, so you can file it 7 years to file for citizenship. But let's go ahead and add another year because it'll take a year to process that. So about 8 years.
Okay, timeline for K-1 visa from China to U.S. citizen.
These are all rough estimates, guys.
So basically,
very rough.
You will be at the federal courthouse or some similar place taking your oath in around 2030.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So that was fun.
63 says hello. Scorpion 1206 says hi.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining. Thanks for the roses and the
Mhm.
love. Okay. Let's see here. Jorge says service in Spanish. Jorge, we are very sorry. Mi inglés es mucho mejor de mi español. There was a time where John and I actually spoke Spanish, but
Yo amo mi perro. That was my first sentence.
But now that we have people in our office who speak Spanish and translate for us, John and I have been very, just lazy when it comes to speaking Spanish. So we are very sorry, Jorge, that we don't speak Spanish.
This is not in Spanish. However, if you reach out to our office,
yes,
absolutely, we have.
Tenemos muchas personas en la oficina que hablan español.
Yeah, we have 4 fluent Spanish speakers in our Virginia Beach office, and
one of them is a Spanish-speaking attorney.
Yes, one of them Spanish-speaking attorney. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. So yes, if Spanish is your language, then we are the right law firm for you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Y Jorge, si tiene una pregunta en español, puede llamar a la oficina y también puede poner in the comments. Yeah. Okay, put in the comments in español, and we'll try to answer it. If not, we'll have someone look at it and answer it.
Yep.
See, my Spanish is actually pretty good. I should start speaking again.
Es mucho mejor que mío.
Stop. Okay. Thank you for that question, Jorge. All right. Doc wants to know, Doc, do we still handle accident claim cases? Yes, Doc. We can refer you to one of our really good friends and colleagues.
Yeah, we would not be handling the actual case, but
I hope you're okay.
Please reach out to us, and we can certainly put you in touch with fantastic folks who will take very, very good care of you.
We will send us a message, and we'll send you the direct contact of our personal injury colleague and friends. Okay. All right.
So the next question here is, I filed the I-130 for my husband.
Okay.
Dominican Republic, and I'm in Texas. How long does it take for approval?
So it depends on where the I-130 petition went. So you can look on your receipt and you can see which service center that I-130 went to. And do you want to tell who is it? It's
we can. We've got all these. I'm just going to go through all these right now, real quick. All right.
More processing times. I know you guys love processing times.
Like to get these out there. U.S. citizen filing for a parent, spouse, unmarried child under 20 years of age. The California Service Center is 10.5 months. The Nebraska Service Center, 10.5 months. The Potomac Service Center, 12 months. The Texas Service Center is 11.5 months. And the Vermont Service Center, 16 months. All right.
Okay. Awesome. So that is just, again, as I had explained earlier, that is just for the I-130 petition. Once that's approved, then it goes to the National Visa Center if we're talking about consular processing here. And of course, we have to wait for an interview to become available. All right. Andrea Alexander says, hi, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for being here. I would like to change my status of my visa. I am here on visitor's visa, but my aunt is very sick and needs 24-hour supervision. Sorry to hear about your aunt. I hope she gets better. I would like to extend my stay, but want to know if I can apply for my green card. So, Andrea, due to the circumstances of your aunt being sick, you can apply to extend your B1, B2 stay, your tourist visa stay, and ask for another 6 months to assist with your aunt. But that by itself does not actually lead to getting the green card, lawful permanent resident status here in the United States. You would have to qualify under a different manner, such as through employment, or if you had another family member who would be able to petition for you. And so my recommendation, my tip is, my tip is to give us a call. Give us a call and let us take a look at the the facts of your case and the circumstances of your case and let us do an analysis to see, hey, can Andrea apply for something else? Is there a way that she can actually get her green card? But for the temporary, for the time being, you can also make a consultation, make an appointment with our office, and we'd be happy to help you with that extension of your I-94 and your stay. Right? Hopefully that helps. And how do you get in touch with us? How do you get in touch with us?
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, our phone number is 757-464-9224, or you can message us at info@gmlaw.net for those of you who are on TikTok. If you're on TikTok and you're looking for a lot of great information, you can look for Radlin on TikTok.
Yeah, follow the page. We'd love to have you, and I answer comments as well, time permitting.
All right. Yeah, and a lot of the TikToks that Radlin does are very informative. So if a lot of the questions that we get over and over and over again are addressed in those TikToks. So if you're going through all of them and watching them, you're likely to find the answer to your question in one of those TikToks that's been previously created. Okay, both 340 wants to know, I got a 24-month extension on my temporary green card last month.
Yep.
Can I apply for citizenship?
Well, what a great question. What a great question. So yes, the answer is yes. If you are time eligible for U.S. citizenship, even if your I-751 petition to remove the conditions on your lawful permanent residency is still pending, you can go ahead and file your N-400 application. I could say it again in a different way, but I'm trying not to repeat myself. John and I are really trying not to repeat ourselves.
Yeah,
we have a hard time doing that. We always say stuff over and over again.
Well, lawyers, have a habit of
Which I made the joke last week that we get paid by the word.
Yeah, that's right.
No, that was somewhere else that I made that joke. All right. But hey, speaking of naturalization, I just want to give a shout out to all of our Citizenship Day volunteers last Saturday. It was a wonderful event.
Yes, absolutely.
And love seeing the applicants come out in the community and getting help from immigration attorneys who volunteered their time. There were several attorneys. The William & Mary Immigration Clinic was there. We had students from Regent Law School in Virginia Beach, and we also had students from William & Mary School of Law. And we had sponsors. We had a co-sponsor. Well, the law firm of Gardner and Mendoza sponsored it. And I also want to give a shout out to our friend and colleague, Hugo Valverde. He was there also helping the community. He's an immigration attorney in the area as well. And our co-sponsor was Tidewater Mortgage, and they were awesome. They helped with the media, and they also helped with actually they bought lunch for everyone, for all of the volunteers. Yeah. So that was really nice. We had pancit and lumpia for lunch. Right. And USCIS was there, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services field office was there. So really big thanks to Odette and Caitlin, who came out and it was a gorgeous Saturday, and all of these volunteers, they just came out to support the community. And we were there from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So however long that was, it was just a long day, but it was awesome. And then finally, we also had Hive, the Virginia Beach business development, the Hive Center. And a really good friend of ours came out. Isan, thank you so much for coming out. Did I forget anyone? Oh, the Filipino channel also came out to interview me and a couple of the applicants. So looking forward to seeing that piece. And as always, thanks to St. Gregory for letting us have the event over there, especially to Hector. Yeah, Hector the director. Hector the director. Oh, man. Who got us in, got us out, us get all set up, got everything taken down, and got us out. Thank you, Hector. We appreciate it. Yeah, but we will have it again next year. So stay tuned. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. This is a good question. Rosalie says, Rosalie. Hi, Rosalie. Once a person becomes a naturalized citizen, is there a chance, that it can be revoked? And yes, there is a chance that it can be revoked depending on the circumstances. I will say that it's rare. Very rare. But it I mean, sure, based on the circumstances, like maybe fraud was committed to get the green card, and so the person never should have naturalized to begin with, and the government is really after this person and really has a what's the right phrase, has a bone to pick, not a bone to pick, has
that's good
has an
enough.
axe to
Axe to grind, yeah.
an axe to grind, yes. Has an axe to grind with the applicant, possibly, but I haven't seen that happen. Not that it doesn't, but
Right.
it's rare.
Right. It would have to be, I mean, if you do things as a citizen that are bad, then that's not grounds for being revoked.
Yes.
It would be revoked only if there was some sort of fraud in the way that it had been obtained in the first place.
Right.
So if that was the case, then possibly, but even then, even that is rare. But
yeah, I mean, I think there are some rare terrorism acts and things like that. But Rosalie, I'm sure that's not happening to anyone that to you or anyone that you know.
All right.
But it's a good question.
Okay. Moving over to TikTok here for just a moment. The Crow229 wants to know, I'm getting married in January of next year, and my wife to be is from Malaysia. What are the steps for permanent residency PR?
We were just in Malaysia.
So very briefly, we were we were in Singapore.
Yep.
Doing some work and some touring, some pleasure as well. And for our anniversary, we took a day and went over and spent the day in Malaysia. That was where we were on our anniversary. It was really, really cool.
Was that the actual anniversary day?
Yes, we had a wonderful day. Great
happy
day.
Anniversary, belated, honey.
Yeah, happy anniversary.
Well, no, we already wished each other.
Celebrated.
Yeah. Because I hadn't remembered that was the actual day. Yes, you're right. That was the day.
Yeah, the stamp in the passport is our anniversary date.
Okay.
Which is cool, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
what was the question?
Married in January of next year. My wife
is
from
awesome.
Malaysia.
Congratulations.
Yes. And what are the steps?
The steps. Okay. So you let's just assume this person is a US citizen. Okay. And it's the same steps if you're a lawful permanent resident, but then you have to check the visa bulletin as to visa availability. But let's just say you're married to a US citizen, your spouse is in Malaysia or another country, and the very first step after you get married is to file the I-130 petition and the supporting documents, and there also goes with the I-130 petition, the I-130A, and that is taking anywhere between 10 and a half to 16 months for USCIS to approve the I-130 petition. So after the I-130 petition is approved, then your case will then get transferred to the National Visa Center. And the National Visa Center is really just a clearinghouse where they collect all of the documentation in order for it to prepare you for that interview. So everything that is needed for the interview, they collect it at the National Visa Center. And at the National Visa Center, it usually takes 3 to 4 months for them to finish your case. And again, it also depends on how quickly the applicant and the petitioner are uploading their documents to the National Visa Center, to their system. So if your case gets transferred to the NVC and you let it sit there for 4 months, and you've done nothing, then you've lost 4 months. But let's just say in the first week, you're able to get everything to the National Visa Center and uploaded, and the National Visa Center informs you that they have everything that's needed. They're documentarily qualified. That process of getting DQ'd, it takes about 12 weeks. The final step of this process is for your wife to appear for an interview in her country. And that is sort of the wild card right now as to how long that is going to take. But that is the last step. The last step is scheduling a medical as well as that interview. And after the interview, immigrant visa is issued, and then your wife can immigrate to the United States. One thing to note is that when your spouse comes to the United States, your spouse is able to work and travel. as soon as she enters the United States on that immigrant visa. So that's a very important point and a big distinction from the fiance visa, where if your spouse comes in on the, I'm sorry, your fiance comes in on the fiance visa, and then you get married and go through this process, your spouse will not be able to work for 6 months until that work permit is issued, the employment authorization document is issued. So, little distinction there, but great question.
Yeah,
You have helped many people by asking that question
absolutely.
who are listening in and watching us. So thank you for that. All right.
Yep, we're up on Facebook. We're going back
Okay.
and forth here.
Meryl, cute kid. My U.S. citizen husband petitioned my kids and got approved recently. Can I represent myself in interview instead of him, even though I'm not the one who petitioned my kids? So, the petitioner, under these circumstances, and Meryl, I'm assuming that your kids are abroad, and if that's the case, then yes, you can go with your kids as their parent. Depending on their age, they have to have someone with them anyway. But the petitioner, in a case like this, when you're doing consular processing and the cases abroad, is not required to go to the interview. So, all right, hopefully that helps. If you are here in the United States, if your husband has gotten an interview notice for him to appear at the interview, then that's not common. Usually it's going to be just the beneficiaries under these circumstances. So you most likely would be able to go, so long as your husband did not have an interview notice for him to appear at that interview. But I doubt you're talking about an adjustment of status case. Maybe you are. You can let us know in the comments, but hopefully that helps. All right. And Rhea, our virtual assistant in the Philippines. Hi, Rhea. How are you?
How are you?
She has put up our contact information
Yeah.
in the comments, but for those of you watching on TikTok, again, you can reach us on the phone, old school, 757-464-9224, or you can email us at info@gmlaw.net. You cannot send messages through TikTok anymore, unfortunately. So that's how you can reach us. You can also, if you're a social media person, hop on over to Facebook. Our Facebook is at Gardner Mendoza Law, and pretty easy to find. And you can send us a message through Messenger. So thanks for the follow.
Yeah.
Caliph 222. Appreciate that.
So a couple questions over here. There was some clarification. So the election can affect our application. No, not directly. What I was trying to say was that there may be legislation for DACA because of the lame duck Congress. You got folks that are on their way out and they may be in a hurry to get something done, especially ones that are not up for reelection. If they've lost their seat, and then they just, they don't care as much if they're held accountable for what they're doing. And so there may be some opening there for DACA. The application, everything you're doing is exactly the same. So
Yeah.
if you're renewing, nothing has changed at all. I don't want to give the false impression that there's a change now. I was saying that there may be something that would changes. And if it does, it would be an improvement, by the way. Nothing is definitely not going to go backward right now. And 55 G Mary says, I wanted to ask if it's possible if your boss can petition you like a household, I think maybe like a family member, and will become a green card holder. It's a pretty broad question.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, we'd need a lot more information, but yes, there's family immigration, but there's also a whole area of business immigration where employers can be the ones doing the petitioning. You may want to expand on that some.
Yeah, I mean, so we've done household managers before, we've done nannies before, and yes, a boss can petition for you for a household job.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. SIPA Sippa says, I have asylum approved and I applied for travel documents to another country. I have an emergency there, but they denied my request. Can we help? It really depends. This asylum. Well, this is not really. This sounds like a I-131, but it really depends on the reasons for denial, and we would have to take a look at it to see if we could help with that. Sip, I'm sorry that they denied that, especially if you have an emergency. I know that can be extremely concerning, but feel free to give us a call. All right. Trisha says, how soon after can I get a state ID after getting married? So just to be clear, getting married in and of itself does not allow you to get a state ID. That may be the case. It may be different in another state, but in Virginia, you can't just get a state ID just because you have gotten married. And maybe the question is, you got married, you filed your paperwork to get a green card. When can you get your state ID? As far as the state ID, so guys, immigration is federal law. So all the things that John and I talk about with regard to immigration law, it applies to all 50 states.
That's right.
Now, a state ID is governed by each individual state and their rules. And I can say that if you entered the United States with inspection, which means you entered with, you went through a port of entry and you were inspected. So maybe you were given an I-94 or you were inspected. If you entered with inspection, if you apply to get a green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen, once you get your green card application receipt, the I-485 receipt here in Virginia, you can go to the DMV with proof that you came in with inspection. So that would be your I-94, of course, you bring your passport and the I-485 receipt. You should be able to get a state ID and or a driver's license. Sometimes the DMVs do not know this, and you may have to go to a different DMV. And this happens with our clients all the time. The Hilltop DMV, they've given a driver's license. One person at the window is given a driver's license to one of our clients. Another client goes in the next day and a different person doesn't. And so sometimes we have to send our clients to different DMVs based on whether they can talk to a supervisor and whether the DMV employees are aware of this. All right. So hopefully that answered your question.
All right. And Bo 340 says, thank you for your answer. I appreciate it. You guys are wonderful.
You're so welcome. I always wave to everyone like, hey.
And G Pana wants to know, are you guys a couple? Yes, we are a couple. If you missed our intro.
I would give it away because we're matching.
If you missed our intro, I'm John Gardner, and this is my law partner and my wife, attorney Radlin Mendoza. And
I was a wife before a law
Gardner
partner.
Yes,
wasn't I?
Absolutely.
We were spouses before law partners.
Absolutely.
But shortly after, we became law partners. Okay. Yes, 24 years. 24 years. Right, yeah, we just celebrated our 24th
wedding anniversary.
In
Malaysia.
That's
in case you weren't paying attention out there and you missed the whole Malaysia thing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So let me grab this question from R.A. Montano. Attorney, may I ask if it's typical for lawyers to have 60 days grace period to submit RFEs, request for evidence? So it's not just for lawyers to have the grace period. It's also for everyone else applying who has received an RFE. So because of COVID, USCIS said that if you receive an RFE or a notice of intent to deny or annoyed, then you have an additional 60 days on top of your due date to respond to that request for evidence. So that rule is not just for lawyers. It's also for people who don't have lawyers. But that's a really good question. But yes, if your lawyer said you have an additional 60 days from the due date, that is true. Don't worry. Trust your attorney. All right.
All right. Warriors Classic Chick wants to know how he or she can become a permanent resident, and they currently have a B1, B2 visa. So, what would be the options for jumping from B1, B2 visa to permanent residency? What things could happen there, perhaps?
So many things. It's so broad. Okay, what is it? What's the question again?
So they have a B1, B2 visa,
Yeah.
and they, are thinking, gosh, it'd be really cool if I was a permanent resident. I wonder how
Yeah.
I could make that happen.
So just generally speaking, there are a couple of ways to get lawful permanent residency. One can be through family, if you have a family member who petitions for you. Now, as a B1, B2 visa holder, so there are two parts to this question, or maybe two parts to the answer. Number one, if Warrior Classic, or if the applicant is looking to come in on a B1, B2 visa, that's typically 6 months and it can be renewed. We'll just say you have an initial 6 months. If the applicant is trying to adjust their status to a lawful permanent resident while here on a B1, B2, there are very limited ways to do that. One is through family. If you're an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, immediate relative is the spouse, child under 21, or parent of a U.S. citizen. Or right now, the visa bulletin is current for spouses and unmarried children under 21 of lawful permanent residents. So that could potentially also be done if that family relationship was there. With regard, this is a lot. With regard to the employment side of things, if you are a person of extraordinary ability, you would potentially be able to go from B1, B2 to self-petitioning yourself under the person of extraordinary ability category. Or if you could get a national interest waiver. So, and then also if you, so we're talking about L1, I'm sorry, if we're talking about a B1, B2, if you change your status to an L1A, which is an executive or manager, then you could down the road change into lawful permanent residency. So hopefully that answers your questions. There are some limited ways in which to do that, but it is possible. All right. So my question.
You're up.
All right. My husband, this is Meryl, who asked about the RFE. No, it wasn't. Sorry, this is a different person. My husband filed for him. I'm with 30 kids are in the Philippines. They are minors because my husband's job. We were thinking going home and stuff. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So that goes back to the other question. That's correct. So your husband does not have to go to that interview. All right.
Yeah, that was the question, whether she can go in his place.
Yep.
All right. Gersie has a good question here off of TikTok.
Okay.
Is it okay to get married to a U.S. citizen as a conditional resident? I was petitioned by my stepfather.
Sure.
So she's a permanent resident. I mean, she's a conditional resident that she got through her stepfather.
Yep.
Has met and fallen in love with a U.S. citizen, wants to know if it's okay to get married. And the answer, Gersie, is yes.
Yes. You're still going to have to, remove the conditions on your lawful permanent residence status. But yeah, absolutely. Get married, travel.
Can't stop love.
Can't stop love. Have kids. John and I have 3 kids.
We do.
So we're pro having children. And we're pro not having children too, if that's your choice. Whatever you like. Oh, my turn. That's right. I said every other. Okay. Let's see here. Fatumata says, if me and my fiance got married while he's here on a visitor visa, would we face any consequences? We don't plan on applying for permanent residency for another 2 to 3 years.
The fiance you married while he's here on the visitor visa.
Yeah.
This is a question we get once a week.
Once a week. Yeah.
Once a week. Every week somebody wants to know.
So, there may be a lot in this question, but I'm just going to answer the question as the question is written. if you get married while he's here on a visitor visa, no, just there's no consequence from getting married, and he's not going to get penalized or anything like that. However, when he comes back in to visit you, I'm assuming that he's going to go back home after you get married, because you're not applying for residency for another 2 to 3 years. And I'm reading into that question a little bit, but if he comes back and they ask him questions about, who are you coming to visit? And he says, oh, I'm visiting my wife. They might raise an eyebrow and say, okay, are you going to try to get a green card while you're here in the United States? And so he may have to, kind of work around those questions. And there is the possibility that they may not allow him in on the next visit just because of these circumstances. Now, if he has a multiple entry tourist visa, then it's probably going to be okay. But if if it expires and he's got to apply for a new one, and of course list your spouse and who lives in the United States, he may not even get that next visitor visa. But those facts may not apply to you. I'm reading a lot into the question.
Yeah,
so
the concern with these are about intent, and if you're getting a visitor visa and you're saying that you're going to the United States because you want to go, you've always wanted to tour New York, but the real reason you're going is to find your fiance or your girlfriend and get married. There's potential trouble there.
Right, for misrepresentation.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being here as a visitor and meeting somebody and getting married to them if that's how it happens.
Right.
But if you're using the visitor visa as sort of a backdoor then that's where there's potential trouble.
Correct. So again, there are many things to read into the 2 sentences that you have written there. We would love to consult with you and just make sure that this is the right plan for you, right? If your fiance is here and you want to get married, you want to make sure that, okay, this is the right plan for our plan of getting married in 2 to 3 years.
Right.
But it's a good question.
Yeah, reach out to us. And if you already are married, I can't tell. It's unclear. It's a little mixed there whether this already happened and they're worried about it, or whether they're wondering they can do it. Okay. Okay. EJ wants to know. Says I'm a green card holder. Are there a specific number of months that I should be employed before I can petition for my spouse?
Green card holder?
Yes.
No. So, again, it also depends on where the spouse is located. If we're talking about concurrently filing a green card application because spouse is here in the United States, then, you have to do the affidavit of support. But even then,
yeah, I think that's probably what they're concerned about. Do I have to be able to show that I make a living and earn money and can support?
No, so long as you can so long as you can get a joint sponsor. Again, if your spouse is here, then this is an issue that you have to face right away. If your spouse is abroad and all you're doing is filing the I-130 petition, you do not have to be employed to file the I-130 petition. Hopefully by the time it gets approved in a year, you will be employed. And by the time you have to submit your affidavit of support, you will have employment, tax return, income. So, but no, that's a really good question though. All right. Let's see here. This is their RFEs.
We already answered that question.
Okay,
by the way.
awesome.
Gerstein was here.
Gerstein, thanks for coming on to Facebook.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the Facebook.
Give us a follow.
Yeah, we answered you before you got over.
Join our Live Love Immigration group. Okay. I got to answer this question.
She did what we recommended.
Yeah.
But we still took it off of TikTok. We didn't follow our own.
I'm going to grab RA's question here, just because I want to hopefully make her feel at peace. Okay. My lawyer has not submitted my RFE until now. The due date with grace period is November 25th. Is that typical or just plain unprofessional? Oh, okay. So the drop dead due date is November 25th.
Right. So you're worried that your lawyer cut it kind of close.
Yeah. I mean, is it unprofessional? I can't say whether it's unprofessional. I'm going to say no, it's not unprofessional. I mean, we've filed cases on the wire many times, It just depends. I mean,
Depends on what the circumstances
depends
were.
on what the circumstances are, the evidence. Are they waiting on evidence? Do they have every single thing that they need? Are they waiting on something? And it, I know that sometimes clients get very uncomfortable when the deadline is approaching, rightly so, rightly so. But as attorneys, we deal with deadlines all the time and they don't really phase us, right? Today is the 16th and the deadline is November 25th. That for me, that's a long time from now. you know. So not really a long time. And I'm not trying to make light of your worry, but if your attorney says, "Hey, look, I'm still putting it together, don't worry," I would trust your attorney. And I mean, if there's an issue where you don't trust your attorney, that's something completely different. And the attorney has given you reason to not trust him or her. That's a completely different issue. But if your attorney has been assisting you and helping you and been communicating with you, and the deadline is here, and again, we have a grace period of 60 days.
Right. It's,
and they've given you a reason.
It could be going into the FedEx box tomorrow morning, and we'll be there on Friday at 10 a.m.
Right.
So, and that's the case, then no trouble.
Right.
No harm.
As long as it gets there,
no harm, no foul,
before the deadline.
Right.
But we completely understand your worry and concern. Again, go communicate with your attorney and just get assurances from your attorney. They do owe you that.
I'm assuming your lawyer hopefully uses, we have multiple calendars and tickler systems. And so we have the deadlines are, flashing everywhere once a file is opened. And so we know, and, we don't cut it that close. This is pretty close, but still not panic zone. All right. Unless, as Radlin said, unless this lawyer's been a little unprofessional and shady the whole time, in which case you may want to really make sure that they realize, hey, you guys know the deadline is coming up fast.
I think they know. So
and we're coming into the Thanksgiving week and a lot of people aren't around, and
let's
make sure we get this out on time. All right. But hopefully they're mailing it tomorrow.
Do we have time for another question?
All right. Cecilia Bell wants to know, I filed an I-130 for my British husband. What is the medical and biometrics?
So, okay. When I hear those terms, when I hear biometrics, I think that maybe spouse is in the United States. And when you're in the United States and you're filing the I-130, and hopefully you're concurrently filing that with the green card application, if your spouse is here, then you basically your spouse has to get biometrics done and go to a local application support center, which is often located in the same building as USCIS. And the biometric is just basically fingerprints, digital signature, and digital photograph. And the medical is something that it needs to be submitted with the adjustment of status application and required for adjustment of status. And when, if it's a case that is abroad, then that medical is done abroad, and it is also needs to be done before the interview. Okay. All right. I think that is all we have here. Rhea has put a FAQ that I said I was going to answer, but totally forgot. But now it is past 9. I'm not answering the question.
Yep. All right.
And our timekeeper, our timekeeper is here over there. All right, guys.
She's being shy tonight. All right, everybody.
Guys, thank you so much for all the amazing questions. Thank you to all of our live stream. Thank you to TikTok. You guys have the great questions, and you guys do too on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Thank you so much. We will see you.
Well, we'll be
here. Are we going to be here on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving? I'm going to say probably not, but we shall see. We shall see. If you have any questions, let us know, Doc. We'll reach out and we'll give you Cooper Hurley's name and number.
For those of you outside of the United States, we hope you'll cut us some slack since we've got, a big holiday on Thursday.
Big holiday.
Okay.
We're going to eat a lot, then go shopping the next day.
Yeah. All right, everyone. You have a great evening. Thanks for the love, the questions, and we will see you soon. All right.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Take care.
Bye, guys. Take care.